There's a method that was deliberately erased from farming textbooks, not because it failed, because it worked so well that it threatened an entire industry. And today, I'm going to show you exactly why this simple technique produces triple the potatoes with half the work. I'm Adam Grove, and on Backyard Crops, we dig up the forgotten methods that actually work. Before we go deeper, if you're interested in growing more food on your land, smash that subscribe button. And please, drop a comment below telling me what you grow. Let's build this community together. Let me take you back. The year is 1905. Small-scale farmers across Eastern Europe, Russia, and rural France are doing something nobody talks about anymore. They're placing seed potatoes directly on soil. No digging, no burying them deep underground. They cover them with straw and leaves, then they wait. The results shocked everyone. These farmers weren't using fertilizers, they weren't using chemicals, they weren't even turning the soil repeatedly like we do now, yet they were pulling 3 times more potatoes from the exact same amount of land. More tubers meant more food, larger clusters meant heavier harvests, less disease meant fewer losses, and dramatically less backbreaking labor. Agricultural scientists documented these results. The data was real. But here's the problem. This method had one fatal flaw. It couldn't be mechanized. By the 1910s, farming wasn't about feeding families anymore. It was about feeding machines. When tractors arrived, everything changed. Agriculture needed uniform rows. It needed standard depths. It needed bare, exposed soil. It needed dependence on fertilizer factories. It needed constant, repeated labor that could be measured and sold. The 1905 method broke every rule in this new system. It eliminated the labor of repeated hilling, stacking soil around plants. It reduced fertilizer demand drastically. It made yields unpredictable in appearance but overwhelming in quantity. To agricultural authorities, it looked messy and unscientific, so they labeled it primitive, unsanitary, inefficient. Not because data contradicted it, because it contradicted their models, because it threatened the profit. By the 1930s, the method vanished from official records, but it never completely disappeared. In home gardens, in war gardens, in subsistence plots where families grew their own food, grandparents passed the knowledge down without naming it. Just lay them, cover them, leave them alone. Simple instructions, powerful results. This wasn't laziness, this was observation accumulated over generations. During World War I and World War II, the method briefly returned. When fuel was rationed and labor was scarce, straw-grown potatoes fed entire villages. The abundance was undeniable. But after the wars ended, industrial agriculture demanded control again. Speed, predictability, visual uniformity. Potatoes became products instead of food. The layered method was erased again. Here's what agricultural systems didn't want you to understand. Potatoes evolved to form tubers in specific conditions. Loose, cool, oxygen-rich layers. This is what potatoes want. When we bury them deep in compacted soil and repeatedly turn that soil, we interrupt fungal networks, we collapse air pockets, we force roots into dense earth where oxygen is scarce. The plant survives, it does not thrive. The 1905 method worked because it mimicked forest floor conditions, layered, protected, alive with microbial activity. Leaves fall naturally on a forest floor. Organic matter layers itself without human intervention. Roots explore through loose material without disturbance. Nutrients move slowly but constantly. That's exactly what happens under straw and leaves covering seed potatoes. I want to walk you through the exact process because every step matters. The foundation. You place seed potatoes directly on your soil surface. Don't bury them. This is completely opposite to what modern gardening teaches. You space them wider than traditional rows. This allows lateral expansion. The soil directly beneath remains untouched. You're preserving fungal networks. You're protecting microbial structures already present in your earth. The cover. This changes everything. Now comes the critical part. You cover, not bury. Use thick layers of straw, hay, leaves, or mixed organic matter. Start with a depth of 20 to 30 centimeters. This creates a living mound that behaves completely differently from dirt. As your potato plants grow taller, you add more material on top. Never soil, never compost, just more organic matter. What happens underneath? Organic layers regulate temperature naturally. They hold moisture like a sponge. They allow oxygen to penetrate freely through the material. Tubers form upward and outward instead of being compressed downward into hard earth. This eliminates misshapen potatoes. It prevents rot. And here's where the magic happens. Stolons form continuously. In traditional planting, hilling cuts off potential growth zones. The buried potato has only one place to expand. In the layered method, every new layer becomes a brand new opportunity for tuber formation. This is where yield multiplies. One single seed potato produces tubers at multiple vertical levels. You're not harvesting from one zone. You're harvesting from several zones simultaneously. Modern gardeners who adopt this method report yields 2 to 3 times higher than traditional trench planting. But the advantages go beyond quantity. Pest management. Colorado potato beetles struggle to locate plants under thick mulch. Soil-borne diseases fail without exposed, compacted ground. Blight spreads slower because airflow improves and rain splashback decreases. The organic layers create a physical and biological barrier. Water and climate. Watering becomes almost optional. Mulch retains moisture so efficiently that drought stress nearly disappears. You're not fighting against nature, you're working with it. The harvest. This is where the method becomes truly gentle. No digging, no damaged tubers, no broken potatoes to waste. You simply pull back the layers and lift clean potatoes by hand. Soil transformation. Here's what amazes gardeners most. After 2 or 3 seasons, something strange happens. Not just better potatoes, healthier soil for everything else. Beds once considered poor suddenly grow stronger crops. Water retention improves. Weeds weaken. Diseases lose ground because the soil is no longer stressed. Microbial life explodes under permanent cover. Mycorrhizal fungi reconnect roots to minerals. Worm populations triple. Carbon stays locked in the ground instead of oxidizing into the air. A method that produces more with less threatens systems built on selling more inputs every season. Fertilizer companies couldn't profit. Equipment manufacturers couldn't optimize it for machines. It couldn't be patented. It couldn't be packaged. It couldn't be sold as a branded solution. So it was simply forgotten or laughed at. Even home gardeners were discouraged. Popular magazines warned of rodents, fungus, and rot. Yet trials repeatedly showed lower disease rates when airflow and microbial life were preserved. The truth was suppressed not by evidence, but by economic interest. This method was never really about potatoes. It was about a philosophy that modern gardening quietly abandoned. For thousands of years, food crops were grown in partnership with decay, cover, and time. The forest was the model. The garden was supposed to echo the forest. Modern agriculture tried to replace that partnership with control, with chemicals, with machines, with the assumption that force equals success. The 1905 method teaches something different. It teaches that biology does not respond to effort. Biology responds to conditions. When you create the right conditions, the plant does the work itself. The layered method demands something that modern gardening has trained out of us: restraint. Modern gardening encourages constant intervention. Digging, feeding, correcting, checking progress, fixing problems. The forbidden method demands trust. Once the layers are placed, you step back. No checking, no correcting, no fixing. And this absence of control feels wrong, especially for gardeners trained to believe that effort equals success. But here's what happens when you try it. Gardeners rarely go back. Not because it's easier, because it feels right. It aligns with how potatoes evolved, with how soil functions, with how food systems operated before efficiency replaced resilience. Carbon-rich layers matter more than nitrogen. Use straw, dried leaves, old hay. These are your foundations. Avoid fresh grass alone, it compacts and becomes dense. Start after your soil warms slightly. Lay seed potatoes when danger of hard frost passes. Cover generously. Don't disturb, don't dig, don't check progress. Let the plant decide. As stems grow, add layers. Think upward, not downward. Each layer is potential food. At season's end, pull back the cover layer by layer. Harvest clean, undamaged tubers. Leave some behind intentionally. The system self-renews. The organic matter becomes soil. The soil becomes richer. The cycle continues. This method was never really forbidden by law. It was forbidden by omission. It was erased from books, removed from curricula, left out of agricultural bulletins. Not because it failed, because it freed people from dependency. And right now, people are hungry for independence, hungry for methods that work with nature instead of against it, hungry for abundance that doesn't come from a factory. The forbidden potato method teaches us something that extends far beyond gardening. It shows us that knowledge can be deliberately erased, that practicality can be rejected for profit, that the easiest, most effective solutions are often the ones we're discouraged from using. It reminds us that soil remembers, that biology works the same way now as it did in 1905, that the conditions potatoes need haven't changed. The method still works better than ever. If you try this method, you're not just growing potatoes, you're reversing decades of soil degradation. You're building microbial communities. You're reducing your dependence on external inputs. You're proving that control isn't necessary. Conditions are. This method will never appear in industrial manuals. It will never be optimized for machines. It cannot be patented or packaged or sold. It can only be practiced. And that makes it dangerous to forget and powerful to remember. I know this goes against everything you've been taught about gardening. If you're willing to trust the method, try it this season. Document what happens. Share your results in the comments below. I read every single one. If you found this valuable, please like this video. Subscribe to Backyard Crops for more forgotten methods that actually work. And share this with someone who needs to hear that abundance doesn't require complexity. The knowledge exists. It's waiting. And your garden is ready for it. Garden lore exists to recover quiet techniques, the ones erased not by failure, but by incompatibility with control. The forbidden potato method isn't a trick, it's a reminder. Abundance was never engineered, it was layered.